Here's another short. The other day, in the lesson that I did on Sunday on the nature of light, I played around with the idea of the ether, or the unobservable cause, the the non-reality that we cannot turn around and look at, the non-reality that we cannot turn around and look at as being the same thing as being the same thing we would call ngesintu i-THoNGo, the place where all potentials and potentialities emanate from and ultimately return to. Now, another layer to this image that I'm trying to put across to you now would be loosening the narrative of i-THoNGo just being that place where everything that is cycled out of the flesh returns to be with the ancestors, a place where they physically look on and have sway into the matters of reality. I want us to move away from looking at i-THoNGo or the ether as a place where our loved ones are gathered, of which by them, if they are happy or unhappy, certain events can unfold in your life. I want us to move away from that perspective and take it from the view that I brought across the other day, that when i-THoNGo or the ether is disturbed, as same idea is put across in the book of Genesis, the gene of Isis, or the gene of, if you want to put it like that, the idea of the spirit hovering above the no thing, or the two twin poles, or your two twin pillars, your mind, ingqondo, ubuqopho. When thinking starts happening, thinking now, udlame is the friction which causes the ether or i-THoNGo to orgasm form, if I were to use that language. If I were to use that language, how the ether is disturbed. I want us to actually go into such topics, break them down as abstract as they are, but be able to break them down for ourselves using the constructs of the laws, the customs and traditions zesintu. Because if you think about it, if that is what science is calling the ether or counter space or black matter, if that is what they are calling it, then it means, because it is neither here nor there, and it fills all space while not being of space, because it is that, it means your ability to make i-THoNGo or the ether orgasm dictates how you live. The ability to make i-THoNGo orgasm electricity or electricity I want us to move away from hey, kunokhokho bami abangangifiseli izinto ezinhle abamnyama, and then kunokhokho bami abakhanyayo. I want us to move away from that angle to a place where we can recognize these two sides as two sexed poles, the negative and the positive, and understanding how to move them from your personal life, from your spirituality into your class. How you understand now how these twin poles, how they create, how electrical current is generated, how magnetism works. And then breaking it down all the way down to geometry, mathematics, numbers, mechanics, all the way down to mechanics. It matters. I want these two sides for which, for many of us, they've always been two incomparable systems. We need to be that generation ezozihlanganisa these two systems. But ukuhlanganisa lokho kumele kwenzeke, kumele kuqale ngaphakathi. Kumele kuqale ngaphakathi. Because to say kunamadlozi amnyama, kunamadlozi akhanyayo, it's exactly the same thing as saying in our bloodstream there is good bacteria and there is bad bacteria, and choosing a side over either side of that wall, you create disharmony. We need to be able to there's the season of the sun and there's the season of the winter, produced by that same one orb, the sun. It is still that lesson, which now needs to be internalized. If kunedlozi elimnyama, understand idlozi elimnyama. If kunedlozi elikhanyayo, understand homabili. Ungathi idlozi elimnyama I must do away with, because that equates to this. That equates to approaching life with one hand behind your back. And once you've been captured there, your encapturement, it resonates forth through everything that we do. You are always splitting the world into good or bad, and not two sides that are ultimately fulfilling a higher function. Two sides, or the idea of there is a savior outside of you, to take it to the Christian context now, that there is a savior outside of you and there is also a destroyer outside of you who are waging over your soul. They are not waging over your soul. These are two sides of the same coin. Lucifer redeems us from the mundaneness of oneness with the Father. And Jesus rescues us from the drunkenness of plurality. He rescues us from the drunkenness of plurality. Plurality, I mean, stuck with the mindset that one day ultimately good will win over bad, or one day Jesus will break open the clouds and come here and to take us home, and the devil will be banished, and then that is that side. Can't remember where I was going again, but yeah, that is where I'm trying to take us to, so that we may become better adults, adults that are whole, adults that understand, not just hey makukhanye cabakwini makukhanye, adults which understand ubumnyama nokukhanya as expressed in incandescent divided light. These are two sides of the same coin fulfilling certain functions. Both sides, not just one, and neither side will one day overthrow the other. Or that is why in the dramas now, or the dramas of old, we're actually watching them in the movies as well. That is why in the movies the bad guy always gets away. Or if they kill the bad guy too early, the story becomes a dud. A lot of us have seen a series that end, because remember Game of Thrones? Okay, in Game of Thrones they killed the good guy, the character that everyone loved. And then from there it was just a weird spiral of events. These two sides are codependent eternally. Baba Mutwa even goes as far as saying, may neither side win, because should the spirit of heat overcome us, we will perish. Or should the spirit of darkness, or coldness overcome us, we will perish. Which means, may the bitter war, or the seemingly bitter war between Jesus and Lucifer, or Yahoshua and Hashetan, or whatever you want to call it, may it wage on forever, because it is within that war that motion persists. And in that motion, that is where we have our being. So goes on.